Hello everyone, this is Edgar for Team Lotus Box with a Magic Online video for you guys. So this week we're going to be playing some Legacy. We had some shakeups in the Legacy format. Lurrus got banned, and the Red-White Companion got banned as well. The biggest effect there is definitely the Lurrus. I was playing a lot of Grixis Delver beforehand, but now with the Delver decks getting that big of a downgrade, I'm back to playing my old snow nonsense that I'm pretty excited to revisit in this new format. I think the format is mostly going to revert to where it was in pre-Ikoria, which is basically the snow decks being on top, but then the other decks were kind of itching up to prey on it. Stuff like Omnitel, um, stuff like Reanimator, various combo decks essentially, and then grindy decks with difficult to deal with permanents, stuff like Trinity Nemesis and Nimble Mongoose specifically can be really difficult for this deck to deal with sometimes. But yeah, this is the list I'm going to be starting off with. It's basically exactly the list I was playing before, just with some minor changes. There were talks about Yorion in this style of deck, but it's not really anything I've been all too interested in, just because of the um, power level of some of the best cards in Legacy. Kind of means that uh, adding 20 cards to your deck can be a bit of a bigger cost in this format than it can in other formats. But yeah, I'm playing a couple Meddling Mage, a couple Containment Priests. These were kind of the best answers pre-Ikoria for the combo decks. You can't really fight them on the stack all too well because of stuff like Veil of Summer. Um, so having permanent ways to deal with stuff, especially the show and tell decks, is pretty important. And Containment Priest is actually a bit of a concession to the rise of the Garuda combo deck. It did pretty well last weekend. I think it won the first Legacy event in the hands of Bob Wong, so making sure I have ample answers to that. Also, a main deck Caracas will help against a lot of the companions and will just also be good in general. So let's just get started. Hop into a Legacy League. Pretty excited to play this archetype again. Definitely the archetype I am most comfortable with in the Legacy format. A lot of the flex slots in this deck are um, pretty malleable. I mean, the deck definitely just plays out like a control deck, so you gotta adjust to what you expect to be playing against. So it looks like our opponent is playing Garuda, and we have a lot of interaction, which is good. This is the best piece of interaction we can have in this matchup. It can be really difficult for them to combo through it sometimes, so happy to see it. So I think it's fairly unlikely that they can do anything on turn 1 that is meaningful. I require them to have a lot of fast mana, but I don't really think it's worth the risk. Not playing any of my cantrips here is bad if they have Chalice of the Void, which is a fairly common adaptation for this deck. But if they end up just having a fast mana hand, I'm going to regret tapping out here. They need 5 pieces of fast mana, or not 5, I guess 4, because they already have the Gemstone Caverns and they have a lot of soul lands, plus Petal, LED, Chrome Mox. I think the Crocus is just so damaging enough that even if they have Chalice, I'm going to have so much time to draw out of it. So I'm just going to play it a little safe here. Alright, so no Callous of the Void is nice. Typically Callous not that good against us. But against this specific hand it definitely would have been. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep up this Caracas as long as I possibly can. Eventually we'll have Caracas and STP up. Not that I think it's that necessary, but pretty difficult for them to do two things in one turn that are meaningful. But it lets us keep up STP for potential hardcast fatty. I guess the benefit of keeping both up is that if they, like the way they beat Caracas is to just mill over another Garuda in the first activation. Or the first trigger rather. And having an extra STP will prevent that. Requires them to hit another Garuda again after the fact. So I think they only play one of these, which is fairly notable right now. Just hardcast Restoration Angel, right? No problem at all. Happy to trade with my Kodal. Just gonna play super safe. I could plow this since I have Snap Plow, but again, I don't think there's any reason to do something like that. Just gonna try to keep up two pieces of interaction as long as I can. I do want to hit my land drops here though. Alright, don't need another Oko. I will keep this Misty. Probably fire off an end of turn Brainstorm if I don't use my mana for anything else since I have the Fetch Line in play already. Just try to hit some more land drops. Because as soon as I hit my fifth land drop, then I can play Oko with two pieces of interaction. Maybe wait till 6 mana so I'll have 3 pieces of interaction and I should be able to take over the game from there pretty easily. Demon. I think they play a copy of Sire of Insanity, so that's what that could be, possibly. We do have Plow though, so not a huge deal. Phantasmal Image, huh? Yeah, that's I think that's fine. They can copy my Kodal, but that doesn't matter too much. They make another Resto, that's also fine. Definitely accept this trade here. Alright, and we hit. So with their Dragonlord Cooligan being, I think they only play one of these. So they can go really, really wide, but they won't be able to haste. Which means this Dead Winter might actually be good. So I think I'm just going to get rid of this other Brainstorm and this Uro. And I'm actually going to keep this Dead of Winter. Just in case they somehow power through all this, I'll be able to Dead of Winter at the end of it. Alright, so I'm going to play Oko here. I'm just going to murder this Restoration Angel. No reason to get in, make a 3-3 here. I can't even get in through the 3-4. So I'll just clear the board. Could have waited one more turn so I had an extra piece of interaction, but I don't think it's very necessary. Because I have this Dead of Winter to even if they manage to go wide. Alright, so Garuda from hand instead of from exile. And we'll bounce over Caracas. And they get to put rest or something back into play, but that's fine. Thought not. I suppose they get to like make a free 4-drop every turn. So if I just keep Caracasing instead of plowing. But I think that's something I can pretty easily power through, especially considering they have to tap so many ancient tombs every time they do this. Alright, so they took the Dead of Winter. Probably also realizing that it's pretty good in this specific scenario, even though it's normally not that good against this deck. Alright, so their hand is just Garuda. The fact that you have to reveal your Garuda at the start of the game is kind of makes the matchup significantly less scary because I don't have to worry too much about the possibility of getting caught with my pants down. Alright, so it looks like they're just going again here. Oh, and I see they have another Garuda, so they're gonna... This is actually very annoying, huh? So I suppose there's no reason to plow here, because they just... Oh wait, no, never mind, that's not how this card works. It's from among those cards, so I should just plow here, and then they have to hit another Garuda right away. Alright, so they just hit a Metamorph, so they're gonna be able to take another plow or Snapcaster here, but I'm not too worried about that. Pretty easily power through this. Alright, that makes sense. So I'm going to start by dealing with one of these. I don't think it matters which one I deal with. Okay, so what now? Suppose I just make an Astrolabe into a 3/3. Kind of wish I kept that Uro now. Could have drawn it instead of shuffling. But I mean, I don't feel bad about the position right now as long as they don't peel another Garuda immediately. That's fine. I'm gonna be able to play or like make a second 3/3 here to contest the Thought Knot. If I draw another Plow, it's fine. Another Kodo, it's fine. Oh, there we go. So now I get to keep Caracas up through this as well, which is obviously a huge deal. And if I draw a blue card here, I just have it all basically. They have it on Demon. Oh, Garuda's a Demon as well. Oops. Alright, well, I mean, I was going to have Caracas up, so it was going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with this, especially without any haste in their deck. Them exiling the Kolaghan is actually super relevant. Makes things significantly less scary. Alright, so how do we want to tackle this? Blast is actually, I know they have Cavern, but it's kind of like Plow Plus, where it deals with the Garuda, but sometimes you get to answer it on the stack as well if they don't have the Cavern. I'm gonna bring in all these Hate Bears though. Um, Still not sure if that's worth it because it's gonna warp my mana base a little bit. So let's see how else we want to do this. Cling to Dust might be okay. Probably not though. Back to Basics could also be good. It prevents them from going a second time. It actually could end up being relevant. But I don't want to dilute my deck too much with stuff like that. After board, I think they just have like more Thought Knot effects and maybe like defense grid since they have so many soul lands. Definitely do not want Veil of Summer. Decay is kind of medium. It's good against Chalice, but we're not like too weak against Chalice anyways. So it's possible we don't want Decay, and we can just deal with it with Oko if we need to. And although Dead of Winter was good that game, I don't think it's going to be good enough the majority of the time to be worth it. Alright, so we've upgraded to these Hate Bears. Is there anything else we want? I don't think we're going to be able to squeeze in these blasts, because I think Kodo is actually reasonable. It's important against Thought Knot. It's a blue card for the forces. Trades with like Restos and those kind of games. I think I'll just have one Decay for Chalice. I think that's reasonable. And I can just run it like this. Actually, Decay is, if they end up having stuff like Grid, or like Grim Monolith, it's going to be good there too. So, I think I'm going to do this and then reevaluate for game 3 depending on how I see their deck is configured. Alright, so we have a Force. Obviously not the best piece of interaction, since they can have Cavern, but their Cavern draws are a little bit slower, and we have Preordained to find more pieces, so I think this is worth keeping. And they don't always have Caverns, so... Okay, yeah, let's just try to Preordain here. So this Force Negation is going to be fine, depending on what type of draw they have. Like, it's going to be a good answer to Chalice, but only if they don't have Cavern, because if they end up having Cavern and Chalice, then I'm just going to want to use the Force Will instead, but then I can just pitch the Force Will to the Force Negation. It'll also be good if they have, like, Defense Grid, or, one of those type of cards, like, even just Grim Monolith, I would probably counter LED, so I think it's worth keeping. It's definitely close, because I want to find, like, a Plow or Caracas or something like that. But I think it's definitely just worth it. Thought not. Alright, so I think I have to counter this at this juncture. It's just too awkward if they take my force. And I'll definitely just pick the Uro, because we're kind of a ways away from that impacting at all. We are weak to Garuda now. Back to basics would be good here, so maybe we should be considering that for game 3. So I could brainstorm main phase. Perhaps spiked Caracas. Just saying go with brainstorm open gives us more information, lets us codal if we don't have to brainstorm. But the problem with that is that we kind of want a delta in case we have to brainstorm, in which case we'll have to waste the delta to codal. I think I'll just brainstorm main phase. I'm not really in a rush to get the codal into play. It's probably going to be my fodder for force negation anyways. Alright, so we managed to hit another force of will. So I'm going to get rid of this forest. And do we want to cantrip with Astrolabe? Probably. What do we get rid of though? Because we need the other 2 lands. Actually, maybe we don't, just because we kind of want all the other cards. So I think it's probably better off if we just do this and just say go here. Our mana will be good enough since we don't have to worry about fetching basics in this matchup. Another Thought-Knot Seer. So I think the ship has sailed on this force and negation. They already have access to 5 mana, so I think I will just force this. Since again they'll just take the force, so I might as well deal with it. And this gives me the window to play Oko and hope to not die, I suppose. Double Thought-Knot, definitely really annoying. Could just play Kotal instead. The problem with playing Kotal though is that it's kind of low impact. And it doesn't even dig me to... It's only good if I hit like exactly Plow or Caracas. I don't have enough mana where Meddling Mage is good. I could deal with one of their mana sources. I think I probably will. This forces them to have another soul land, so I think this is worth doing. Obviously I want to deal with the permanent mana source. If they don't end up casting Garuda this turn, it's going to be very good for me. Giving me an opportunity to untap, draw one of the relevant pieces of interaction I have, and since they didn't play a pre-combat, it looks to be the case, since they would try to spike the Dragon Lord Kolaghan if possible. Metamorpho. Just gonna make another Chrome Mox. Wonder if they thought that would be a 3/3. Probably not. They probably just wanted to set up for Garuda, but I'll just elk this again. Let my Oko die. I'm not too worried about that. Ooh, perfect. Okay, so now I don't need to worry about this actually. I can just play Meddling Mage, name Garuda. And I don't have to worry about dying to my own elks. Garuda Doom Adepts. And make a food token. Uncle's still living because there's a million loyalty. It's pretty good. Alright, definitely do not want to attack. Card I could randomly lose to is Restoration Angel, so I'm just gonna make phase this Kotal. Try to spike a cantrip perhaps. I did think about Astrolabe when I was tapping my mana. I wanted to leave up white mana in case I drew Plow. It's kind of the same odds, but it'd be more devastating, I think, if I drew Plow and I wasn't able to cast it. Um, I'll just make another food token and say go here. Could have elked my food so that I could trade with their Chrome Mox, but I'm not too worried about having to do that because I have another Oko here. I could always just count block with Kodo if I really wanted to. I think I probably will, since they didn't have the resto. Spark double. Okay, it just makes another Chrome Mox, right? Not too worried about that. Alright, they're off it. Yeah, the Meddling Mage is pretty backbreaking in this matchup, I think. I think they don't actually have that many answers to it. So a pretty clean victory against Garuda there. Alright, we can hop straight into the second match. Lewis CBR. So he usually plays Delver strategies. Let's see if he's doing that again. Our hand is would have been pretty good against Delver, but he looks like he's actually on Garuda. It's kind of like the flavor of the week, I suppose. But we have a Plow, which is kind of most of what we can ask for in game one. Caracas is obviously a little bit better, but we only have one of those. Callus here would be very annoying. Alright. Well, we do have the Decay, so we do have an answer to that. It's just going to slow us down pretty considerably. Alright, so no LAD. Ooh. I think I'm gonna play that. This plays around like land pedal. I can't decay this turn, obviously, but I can still decay next turn and plow next turn. And it looks like that's exactly what they had, a pedal and a blue source, so I'm gonna try to power through this Caracas. They need to spike a Garuda in the top 4, basically. And they hit, so really unfortunate. They gotta keep going here. Happens some percentage of the time. Usually the Caracas is good enough. So he gets to see my entire deck. So I could have conceded, but I mean, once he sees Misty and Caracas, he basically knows what's going on. Um, so no real upside there. At this point I'm pretty dead. I could have still won before, like the third Garuda or whatever, if they missed on a trigger. But it looks like it's pretty over at this point. Spark's duplicate, meaning that you can just kill without the Dragon Lord sometimes is nice. You do need to hit a bunch of them, of course. It's some relevant upside. Alright, and they hit Sire of Insanity, so it's good enough for me. And let's try to meddling mage them again. Just gonna do the same thing we did last game, I think. Let's bring in these, take this out. Take out 2 decays and the dead winner. Maybe we do want more decays. Can like deal with Chromox in some games too. It's probably worth keeping in more of these, honestly. What don't we want? We can get rid of Sylvan Library, I suppose. Might be a little bit too nonsense. In these combo matchups, you do have the luxury of just taking 8 damage immediately, but that involves you untapping, which can be fairly difficult sometimes, so maybe it's just not worth having. Alright, it's not the best hand, but does have a considerable amount of selection, plus a Swords to Plowshares, so I think it's worth keeping. Alright, Force Negation, pretty good. Not gonna counter a pedal. I would consider counting an LED, but 1 mana is not worth countering for sure. Alright, definitely gonna brainstorm here, try to find another cantrip or something. Probably don't need 3 forces, so I can probably get rid of one of those. And I think we can get rid of a land too. The third force did act as a second blue card for the second force, but I want to keep all the lands. I want to keep the plow. I think it was fairly safe to just cantrip there. So if I don't counter this, maybe I was supposed to leave a plow actually. That could have been a pretty fatal error. If I don't counter this, I get kind of destroyed by Cavern. But if I do counter it, then I just kind of don't have much going on. Alright, so they ended up having the Cavern. I made an error playing that for sure. I should have just left a plow. That was just incredibly greedy on my part for no reason. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Oh, and it looks like they whiffed, so pretty fortunate. I didn't get punished for my error. I even drew a Containment Priest, so... I only have 4 mana now, so it's fairly safe for me to just cantrip here. Alright, we definitely got away with one. I don't think we're gonna lose this game. This could be a Thought-Knot here, which would be a little annoying. Just eats up a Forceful, basically. And they're down to 3 mana anyways, so this arrow's gonna take over the game. So let's not do that again in game 3. Let's keep up our interaction. Plow Priest. I like the look of this. If we get goes like turn 1 Chalice and a turn 2 Garuda, we probably lose, but barring that, I think we're okay. Suppose a turn 2 Thought-Knots here would also be annoying. We would plow it, but they would deal with the Priest. And then we wouldn't have too much going on after that. Turn 1 Garuda would be really annoying. Alright, not the case. Alright, not gonna make the same mistake as last game. Just gonna leave with my interaction. Alright, we need to fade a Garuda in the top 4 cards. Alright, just a Restoration Angel. Super beatable. This deck is pretty powerful, having its 1 card combo piece in its opening hand every game. But it is also just super fragile, so as we've seen in these past 2 matches, it can be pretty trivial to break up sometimes. Just gonna get a basic here. I'm gonna have plenty of colored mana. Just get this priest down, deal with the resto, and should be good. I could tap out with no fear here as well, since they only have 3 mana, no cards in hand. I think I'm gonna Meddling Mage Thought-Knots here. Might actually be the scariest card. They're so far away from casting Garuda, and it doesn't even do anything once they hit. So, all right. Lost the game where they spiked Garuda in top 4, but besides that, the matchup has not felt that bad. I mean, I've drawn Caracas a lot, but even Plow has been relevant interaction as we've seen in those games, which isn't always true against combo decks, so it's kind of nice that it is true in this case. Alright, hopefully we play against a non-Garuda deck for the next match. Get a little bit of variety in this league. Alright, so no companion this time. This hand's solid. Definitely a keep. We want to hit some land drops here, but fairly easy. I think in the dark, it's definitely not worth it to just keep a Veil of Summer turn 1. I think it's going to be much more important for me to just preordain, set up my land drops, maybe find some interaction. You have so much inherent card advantage in this deck, so that typically looking in game 1 for cards like Force of Will is fine, even in the matchups where they end up not being that good, like a lot of the fair matchups, you can usually convert them to decent effect. And it ends up being a pretty big deal in the matchups where it is important. Okay, so I definitely want this land. The question is, do I want this Uro? I think we're a bit of a ways away from doing anything good with that Uro, so I'm just gonna ship it. I'd rather find like an Oko, Sylvan Library, a lot of better draws. Okay, Windswept Heath is interesting. This could be like a... what could this be? This could be Infect. I think I don't want to deal with the Noble Hierarch. So I'm thinking it's Infect. I think I'm just going to say go here. Leave up the option to plow like a Blighted Agent into Snap Plow it again. Or just play Codal. Also, if it's not Infect, it's probably some like mid-range bug deck, in which case I would want to save the plow for something like a Leovold, but yeah, it looks like I was right. So I'm definitely just gonna plow that right now. Alright. I'm just gonna say go here. Keep up Codal. Probably not gonna snap plow, just to play around days. Um, but I mean, the Kodo's going to cover Glistener Elf and Inkmoth Nexus fairly well, so I'm honestly only really worried about more Blighted Agents. That card's really annoying too. Um, okay, I will Kodo in response in case I hit Force. Alright, no Force. So I need to find Decay would be the best draw. If not, that card is going to be very annoying. Okay, if I'm looking for exactly Decay, I can Astral Late before Brainstorming, so let's do that. Found the Force, a little too late. Alright, we found Decay, and we also found our own Sylvan Library, which I think will be good down the line. I think I'm gonna get rid of this Veil of Summer. It might end up being good is the thing. Maybe I just get rid of another land. Because the Veil's gonna be good. Let's say they play Blighted Agent this turn, and then the next turn they try to go for Invigorate Berserk or something along those lines. I could have Force with Veil backup. I don't really think I need a 5th mana source, so I'm just gonna... Could have also just gotten rid of the Sylvan Library and kept the 5th mana source, but I think that this is a little bit better. And I'm just gonna deal with the Sylvan Library here. Definitely much more important to deal with theirs than to have mine online. I think theirs is pretty considerably stronger than mine. The way this ends up being not that good is if I don't draw another blue card, and I want to like Snap Plow instead. And 5th mana source would be pretty good here at Snap Plowing and then Veiling with Through a Daze. But they need a lot here in order to fight through this, so I should be okay. And now I have a blue card in case they do have Daze. Question is, do I go now? I think I do just Snap Plow now. Okay, Force Fix Daze means it's less likely they have another Daze, and it looks like they don't. So, glad I kept the Veil. Even if they ended up winning this fight, they would be so low on resources that would be pretty unlikely they'd be able to kill me. Um, Obviously, be a little bit scary. I would prefer just dealing with a Blighted Agent, but I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Okay, so now I even have Force as an answer to the 3rd Blighted Agent, so I feel pretty good considering Glistener Elf and Inkmoth Nexus are both not that important of a threat. Yeah, this is fine. I can just Chump Block with Snapcaster. So Invigorate Berserk is lethal, but I do have this Force of Will. Now they're out of cards. So, I mean, they gave themselves a good opportunity there. Unfortunately, I had it all. effect is interesting. Why would they do that? You can like hardcast and invigorate? Nope. Strange. Thought they might have Oko too. It's definitely a possibility. I'm probably gonna just take 8 here no matter what. Yeah. My life total is not a worry. Not worried about this noble hierarch at all. Just want to dig deeper, find Oko or Uro. There's an Oko. And now I'm pretty content trading for this noble hierarch since I have a second Codal. So I'll just leave it back and play around another potential invigorate berserk or something like that. Become immense berserk would be 14, and I have the food plus 1 toughness, so I think I have everything covered by staying back with Codal. Okay, so for game 2, definitely want this other Dead a Winner. Elemental Blast is decent just because it deals with Blighted Agent, but I'm not sure it's worth bringing in the Volcanic or skewing my mana base at all. The other Velasar might be reasonable too. What is definitely bad? I think Force Negation is not great. You kind of want to fight their creatures, not necessarily the spells. And although they are an infect deck, Southern Library can be pretty bad if they're playing a tempo game. Could also consider back to basics. They are all Trops and Inkmoth Nexi. Interesting. I think I will board out the Force Negations. You really don't want to be too counter magic heavy in this matchup because they can just they don't really try to play a combo game after board. Blast will be good if they have Okos as well, but I have Decays for that. I don't think I'm gonna bring in the Blast in the Dark. It's just you're too low on targets, I think. I think I probably want the other Veil. Do I want these back to basics? I think on the draw they're kind of not great. They might be better than these Sylvan libraries though, honestly. I'm down to try that. I think they're pretty lights out if they hit the battlefield. I think this hand's a little too weak. Let's go to 6. Alright, this hand's a lot better. What do we not want? Might be the Preordain. We might need all the mana. And I wouldn't mind fetching basics, so I kind of want to keep the Astrolabe. Yeah, I mean, bottoming the Preordain sucks if we end up drawing more lands, but more lands against a Daze deck isn't the worst case scenario, and if we just, I think the only other option would be to put back a land, and I think it's much more devastating if we end up missing our 3rd land drop, or even our 4th, so that we can't Dead a Winner through a Daze. Alright, so we ended up drawing another land, which is kind of unfortunate, but it'll be fine. If we draw Brainstorm or something too, it'll just clear it up nicely. Daze the Astrolabe, alright. Okay with that. Wasn't super reliant on that anyways. Preordain's pretty good here. I think it's worth casting this over keeping the blue card for 4, so I'm not too worried about dying on this turn cycle. So we found an Oko, so we'll keep that. Replacement blue card also will just be good to cast onto an empty board at some point. Alright, so it looks like they're playing pretty slow. Keeping up interaction. Makes sense. They don't want to expose their ink moth. Alright. Definitely not just gonna slam Oko here. I think it's much more important for me to keep up force. Keep up my interaction through soft permission. It's fine. No activation of Pendlehaven is interesting. Wonder if that means that they're gonna try to make a move right now. It looks like they are. Become immense, perhaps? Just berserk, alright. So I think give them an opportunity to cast something else there. Obviously they were not going to though. And if they have two pieces of protection here, then I lose. But so be it. Probably should have responded to the berserk. So now they're going to gain extra life. Fine, supposed to fail. Alright. Okay, well, I mean, pretty nuts hand, but could have perhaps played around that by decaying the noble hierarch. I just don't think it was worth it though. Much more important to save the decay for potential library or Oko, something like that. Okay, so do you want to king anything for game 3? The back to basics get a little bit better on the play. The Veils are not that great since a lot of their counter magic, quote unquote, is just green protection spells. It is really good if they end up using Force though. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe instead I just want to have Blasts. Or Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library is a little bit better on the play. Might just let me jam like Library into back to basics, force him to have double days. Alright, let's try that. Alright. Great hand here. I have coverage against most threats. Plus a threat of my own. Alright, not worried about Glistener. Definitely the least scary threat out of them. But one of the main phases is Cold. Main phase in the Cold means if they have days, they don't have access to 2 mana on their turn. Kind of a big deal sometimes, so I think it's worth doing. Whereas if I say go, they can just like pre-combat a 2-drop and then daze my Kodo in combat, which would be an issue. Force Will has a lot of respect for the Kodo. I will let it go though. I have plenty of answers to this elf. Would rather fight over a library or something, or invigorate Berserk potentially. It's a little bit worse because I don't get to convert the force on a turn where they don't have Veil, but I think it's fine. Looks like they might be going for it here. And I hope they don't have days as well. Looks like not. Alright, so we didn't draw land. I think I'm just going to decay this. I'm not going to be greedy here. I could try to preordain into a land, guarantees the Oko next turn, but I think that's way, way too greedy. Especially with them not having a second land. Alright, Double Hierarch is fine. Then a winner, a pretty good draw actually. Yeah, I should just keep this plow. Might need it for Inkmoth Nexus. So they might be incentivized to shuffle away dazes here with this brainstorm. Oh, that Inkmoth is really annoying actually. Cause now I'm kinda dead to another Invigorate. I think I just have to dead a winner though. Can't afford to let them untap with Blighted Agent and Noble Hierarch. I'm just gonna force him to have Invigorate basically. Inkmoth plus the fact that they had Inkmoth and another threat there was really, really unfortunate. If they don't have both, then I can either plow or back to basics. Right, it looks like they chose not to shuffle and they have a land here, so I have a feeling I might be dead. Oh, okay. Thank God. Okay, I mean, I'll definitely say go here. Back to basics less effective with the force and the Noble Hierarch. Just want to keep up plow for this Inkmoth. I only have one card in hand. Looks like they're going for it. I think it's a reasonable spot to go for it. It doesn't really get better for them at any point. Does mean I now get to just tap out at my leisure, which is nice because I didn't have a fourth mana. I'm just gonna play Oko here. Make a food is fine. And I'm gonna keep this in my hand, I think. No reason to just let it get wastelanded when I might be able to utilize the mana next turn. Perfect. Alright, let's just start elking them to death. I will play this now to play around days. And I don't mind if I get wastelanded, it's not that big of a deal. But the elk should be able to take over here. Let's go 3, then 6, then 9. That's lethal. Oop, I meant to flashing Kotal there. got it against Infect. I think it's a matchup that historically used to be not great, but that was kind of before these decks started playing um, a bunch of Kodos. I think Kodo does a lot to increase the uh, efficiency of our deck in that matchup. It's just before stuff like Inkmoth Nexus used to be a huge problem, but now you can kind of just hide behind the 1/1 and force them to act first, which was just never the case before. They used to just be able to attack you for 2 damage or so with either Exalted or Pendelhaven and force you to react first. Alright, match 4. I think a pretty clear keep here. Obviously need some mana, but we have plenty of cantrips. Obviously bottoming anything that's not a land. Miss on a land on our top 7 would be very unfortunate, but definitely, definitely think it's worth keeping. Verdant Catacombs is interesting. Alright, so I drew a second land. I'm just gonna say go here. Verdant Catacombs could mean a few things. It could be depths, could just be lands, could be any like bug deck. Would rather have more information for these brainstorms, and also just playing Kodo digs deeper than brainstorming this turn. Digs deeper over the course of a few turns, rather. A little bit worse if they have or if they have Wasteland for my drop. Um, but playing around Wasteland involves banking on having a basic or effect on the top 3, which isn't the most likely thing. Okay, interesting. I'm not actually sure what this is. The Taiga is strange. Defense grid. Okay, I suppose I just brainstorm a couple times here. Want to hit a land and a force so that I can Oko the defense grid and then force their next play if they don't go off here. If they go off here, obviously I lose, but I can't play around that. So I think I will brainstorm again to go 1 deeper, even though it's not that likely that I hit a force. I think it's worth it. Can't take the brainstorms with me. Okay, and we hit, so put the brainstorm down there and the Oko on top, and not going to counter this grid. Hopefully nothing bad happens to me here, and then I can Oko it. No point countering the grid unless I had 2 forces. But with only 1, it doesn't actually do anything to counter it. I just need to hope I'm not dead, and then I have a force next turn where if I counter it, I just never have a force regardless if they have it this turn or not. Echo of Aeons, alright. They have an LED as well. They do. So they're spinning a wheel a little bit, so I ended up not mattering what I did. Which class? So it looks like some test variant. But if they can't keep going, then I do have force. They did discard a Wishclaw Talisman to that LED, so worth noting. My decays are pretty good after board, actually. Right, definitely just gonna say go here. I wonder if the taiga means something that a typical build wouldn't have. I can't think off the top of my head what it might be. Alright, so Veil of Summer, basically the same situation as last turn where it's not worth countering. Since if they have it, I'm gonna die anyways, and if they don't have it, I just have a force left over. Witch Claw, so they can... I think this is... I mean, at worst, this is an ad nauseum at 19, which would be pretty bad for me. But at best, this is probably lethal. So you get to tutor with 7 floating. That can find a Burning Wish, which would be his 7th storm count. Suppose it's not technically lethal yet, unless I'm missing something. Their card in hand is fast mana than it is because they can chain tutors. Assuming they have Inferno as well. Not really sure how these test lists look like recently though. Alright, no, they had a land in hand. But I mean, ad nauseum is so likely to be good enough here with 2 mana floating. And that's like what it is, so. Barring some really bad flips on their part, I think we lose this game. So they have plenty of mana, they just need a win condition, there it is. Alright, so we're dead. I think that's actually just lethal already, yeah. Unless they keep going for some reason. I don't see why they would. No, they see it. Okay. Next game. So, blasts are pretty good against Ant, but they're pretty bad against Tess. Definitely want this other Veil. Definitely want these Meddling Mages. Probably the Dettle Winner too, because they usually bring in Empty, or have access to Empty in their main deck. So we definitely do not want the Plows. That's an easy cut. Is this just an easy swap? Kling and Leovold are again options that I like a lot against Ant, but against Tess, not necessarily the best because they're like they're a little bit faster, pretty considerably faster. They don't typically play a grindy slow game. Uh, Actually, I guess Tess is pretty heavily reliant on Echo recently, so maybe I do want blasts for that reason. Could cut the basic planes, which is typically something I like doing against combo decks when I board up Plow. A little bit worse since incorporating Meddling Mage, but only going to be relevant if I draw the Vistas as my white source. And no Astrolabe or other fetch. I think it's worth cutting. So first I want to figure out if I want these cards. I'm pretty sure I don't want Kling. Leovold. I guess Leovold is a better answer to Echo than Blast is perhaps. Maybe I do want these Leovolds. I can take out one Sylvan Library. Maybe I just take out both Sylvan Libraries, keeping the extra land. Stolen Library is pretty decent, actually. Definitely want all the decays for Defense Grid, Wish Claw Talisman. Sometimes they just run out of LEDs preemptively. Alright, I'm gonna just keep in the extra land. Meddling Mage is too important that I don't want to risk not being able to cast it, I think. Alright, Veil, very good. Kodo good. Or, Kodo not good, but Veil good. I think this is worth keeping. Kodo cycles. This hand, Veil means that it's difficult for me to die to Tangrels. And with 2 Data Winners in my deck post board, I'm not too worried about empty. You can also just beat empty sometimes with Uro, which I also have access to in this hand. It doesn't always work, but it works a lot of the time. So I think it's worth keeping this hand. Mulliganing for something like Forest is kind of a pipe dream when they have so much discard and Veil of Summers. I think if I was aggressively mulliganing, it would be for Meddling Mage, and I don't think that's worth it. Alright, opponent's in the tank of other 6-card hand. Looks like they kept it and put a card on the bottom. There's that Taiga again. Alright, we found the Data Winner, so we kind of have both avenues of Storm covered right now. Obviously, if I get Aeons, then anything could happen. I know that sometimes they have a Grape Shot so that they can kill through a Veil. It's not the easiest for them to do that, though. Sometimes they're just not capable. I suppose Defense Grid would also be an issue. Carpet's a little annoying, especially considering I have to fetch another island here, but that's fine. Another reason to keep in decays too. Forgot about Carpet. That's gonna represent a lot of continuous mana for them, which is not good for me. Wouldn't mind finding a Misty or Vista off the Kodo in my draw step so that I can go Uro into Veil. Would be a pretty big deal, I think. But I don't think I can afford to not play Kodo here, so I have to fetch out the crop and give them access to a little bit more mana. Mana not typically a bottleneck, so I'm not too worried. But if they have a lot of it, they can overload your combo your counter magic sometimes. Especially if they have cards like Flusterstorm after board to counter Veil. Second Dota Winner not that useful. Let's just play around discard a little bit more, but I definitely can't afford to just play Uro here. Much too risky. We'll just say go. Really wanted a 4th land there. I think I'll probably flash in the Snapcaster naked. Unless I have to use the Veil this turn. If they play a discard spell and I Veil, I won't Snapcaster, but if they don't do that, then I will. I think increasing the clock is super worth it with them missing land drops. Um, Especially if I draw a green source, I can consider just playing Oko, further increasing my clock. If I have to use the Veil though, I would rather save the Snap in case I miss a land drop again. I can keep up Snap Veil. Alright. Second Carpet. So they're gonna have pretty gross amount of mana. I'll likely not have to affect any more islands, which is good for me. But I mean they have access to 5 mana every turn at least. Alright, so definitely gonna flash in the Snap. The reason to keep the Snap would be, like, the Snap's only good if I draw a 4th land, because then I can go like Veil, Snap, Veil. But if I draw a 4th land, then I'm just gonna want to Oko with Veil up, I think. I think it's worth just getting in the extra damage here. Leovold's kind of an interesting draw. Could just play it and hope. I think it's too likely though. With the Wishclaw in play already, and the carpets, that I don't think it's worth it. Especially considering I have this Veil means I can't, I'm not worried about them just going like tutor up ad nauseum, cast ad nauseum. Since I won't die to Tendrils. I have empty coverage, so let's see what they do. They made 4 black, so they have a plan here. Maybe they're rethinking it. Alright, looks like they're going. It's just an ad nause. Alright, well actually unfortunately I can't even do anything about that. They have Flusterstorm on their deck, they're gonna be able to fluster my Veil and I'm gonna lose. It's a lot of Wishclaw Talismans. Is that pretty normal now? I guess Tez is a Mox Opal deck, so I guess they would opt to play the Talisman over Inferno Tutor. That makes sense, especially if you have Veil as your permission. You don't want to have to always rely on LED to force through your tutor, because you want to be able to Veil their counterspell. Yeah, they do need to be careful here. Since they go too low, they could lose to exactly what I have. I assume they have empty, so they might just go for a big empty here. You can probably empty and tendrils on this turn, so. Maybe not though, maybe they're choked on mana. They only have 4 mana right now. 7, 8 mana. Yeah, they can't do both yet. But they are stopping, so let's see what they do. Oh, 9 mana. And they haven't played a land, so that would be the 10th mana, I think. They have Rite of Flame left over, so now they have plenty of mana for sure. Rite of Flame was one of their mystery cards. Alright, so they're veiled. I wonder if they play a Flusterstorm. If they have one Flusterstorm, I basically didn't really have a way to beat that because they can just Tendrils and then tutor Flusterstorm when I go to Veil. Because this is it just says during your turn, not at sorcery speed. But if they have to use it to find their win con, then they won't have access to it anyways. It looks to me like they have plenty of mana. So maybe they just don't have a Flusterstorm. And they're trying to figure out the best way to beat this Veil. I assume the Veil into the Dead of Winter will be pretty backbreaking. Because I think the way to beat it would be to cast Tendrils. If I have Veil, so be it, and then just tutor up empty after the fact. And make a bunch of tokens. Alright. So we're officially out of interaction. Just let them do their thing. Let's see if we survive. I do have a problem where they could just tutor up empty and then just still have a full grip. So even after I dead a winner, they can just probably still kill me the next turn. But if I draw any land, then I'll be able to tutor up another force. Though I'm not even sure that's good, because then I just give them a tutor back. So I might just still be in a pickle here. They just failed again for storm count, I suppose. Do they have a grave shot kill? Maybe. They do have a grave shot kill. Alright. Unfortunate. Not sure how they're gonna. How can they pass in flames? They can probably just pass in flames, right? They targeted my Snapcaster. I wonder if that means they don't have lethal here and they're just going for like a medium-sized grape shot so that Tendrils is more lethal next turn. It's kind of what it looks like to me, honestly. I have 2 talismans and 2 lands in hand, plus a mystery card. Did they not kill the Kotal? Only the Snapcaster? No, they killed the Kotal too. Alright. Yeah, it looks like I might not be dead here. Maybe spoke too soon. What's my best play if I get to untap? Is it just Leovold? Leovold's probably better than them just playing Oko, I think. Looks like they're Burning Wishing again. For Echo. Oh, I see. Okay. Trying to draw the Grave Shot again. Alright, we got a turn. So, how do we deal with this? I think we start by preordaining, huh? Or brainstorming, rather. It's a little bit awkward. I can just fetch Island, Brainstorm, put back the Swamp so I can fetch Swamp Uro, play the Forest, keep a Veil. I think that there's no way for me to not fetch another Island here. Oh wait, no, I could just Brainstorm off this, and this can get Plains, or the Forest itself, and this can get the Swamp. Alright, let's do that. I think I don't want to, don't want to Uro. I think I just preordain. It's gonna fetch the Swamp and, yeah. No, I should just fetch the Forest here. I should have played Misty, that was a mistake, but it's fine. Okay. Could have played Oko that turn with Veil up and like maybe try to set up a lethal over a few turns, but I think it was better to try to find more interaction. They're running low on clock too, they've been deep in the tank with every decision. If we end up going to a third game, it's going to be pretty difficult for them, I think. swamp here. This actually was really useful. Meant I wasn't going to give them any more carpet value, which is really good. Secure some more lands though. So hopefully they can't, oh, it looks like I'm dead to Grape Shot. They can tutor it up, they added our red source. Alright, good games. How much I could have done about that? I guess I could have. Maybe that was a really bad error. Maybe I was supposed to just play Oko and Elk their Wishclaw Talisman. Keep up Oko, or keep up Veil rather. Because the Wishclaw Talisman is representing Grape Shot in play, which is their best way to beat me, I think. So probably a mistake there, actually, in hindsight. That's alright. Alright, good games. And one more match. Alright, match 5. Let's try to get the 4-1. I think if Tess got more popular, specifically, I would be looking to play stuff like Flusterstorm. I think Leovold might be a bit of a dated card, maybe something I'm holding on to too much and should probably try to move away from. It's definitely less effective than it used to be. It's pretty good against the show and tell variants. Just because they try to play like a really slow cantrip game, and you can punish that. It also makes Grizzlebrand worse, obviously. Alright. Final match of the day. Opponent's playing Yorion, so this could be like a fair mirror, where they have a bit of an upper hand with the card Yorion. But my hand is good. Looks to be the case. I think Yorion is an interesting card. Definitely something I could see myself trying. My initial instinct was that it wouldn't be worth it, but I could definitely be wrong about that. Generally, this deck is weaker to the combo decks, not to the fair decks, so further increasing that those same strengths and not your weaknesses is not something I generally like to do. On double actually. I will need to find a piece of counter magic for that Yorion. It's gonna be way too devastating otherwise. So it's definitely gonna be good this game. Alright. Force is good. Definitely just want to Kodal this turn, I think. This is part of the reason though why I have so many blasts in my sideboard. Alright. So we have some good initiative here. We have Kodal down first, we have another Kodal. We have some counter magic. Alright. Decent, decent. I could have not played Astrolabe there to keep up hardcast force negation, but I didn't think it was worth it. I kind of want to make sure I hit my land drops. Alright, this card's fine, I can just decay it. I will decay it now instead of getting in the extra 1 damage with Coldal. Just gives me more options next turn. I don't think the 1 damage is gonna matter too much. Alright, I'm just gonna slam Oko here. I have double force backup. Do I want to fight over this? I think I do. Could have done this pre-combat to get in with Astrolabe, but I kind of wanted to make a food this turn. This lets me threaten to swap if I want to. And also maintains my mana base. It's a little bit worse if they have Decay. So this is Yorion. I'm gonna force that for sure. The question is, would I pick Uro or Force Negation? I think I picked the Uro because I'm far enough ahead on board right now that I think the hardcast Force Negation is gonna be very good. I don't think it's worth countering this Brainstorm. Not too many creatures I'm worried about, so this Force Negation is basically a hard counter. Even Snapcaster Mage is not that scary right now. Basically, I mean, one reason to force the Brainstorm would be the fact that I can't counter an Abrupt Decay, which is one of the best answers to Oko. But I would much rather just force them to spend their mana and their card casting their own Oko or something like that, and then I can force that instead, I think. Also, if they have something like Seven's Reclamation, I'd rather force that, I think. Although the Sevens isn't very good right now. Sylvan Library is certainly not scary enough. Alright, I will counter this. Alright, so do I want to brainstorm here? I think there's enough good cards that I can hit that it's worth it. And they're dead next turn to this Oko anyways. Alright, definitely don't want second plow, but this cold was a good hit, so it means they have to deal with an additional threat. Because they're going to 4 here, so if they have like Kodo into removal spell, then the 2 Kodos are a 2-turn clock. Or if they deal with this board, then the Kodo plus the Astrolabe from the Oko is lethal. I think if they have Dead Winner or something. Leovold. Yeah, that's fine. Just gonna fetch a swamp here. Suppose I haven't exposed that I'm playing white yet, so maybe they think I'm just playing a Sultai deck. Not sure that would really change anything in their sideboarding, but it might. And I'm pretty sure this is just lethal anyways, through everything, so... Alright. So... Snow Mirror. The blasts are premium, to say the least, so I definitely want those. I want these Veils, and I want these Leovolds. What do I not want? Dead of Winter's not great. Plow is not fantastic. Definitely don't want all of them. And Forcibles are not great. I want to keep in some forces, I think. Force Negation's oh wait, I definitely want this Cling too. I almost missed that one. So what if I did this? Force Negation could be okay, because you can hardcast it a little bit more frequently than Force of Will. And it does prevent snowballing a little bit, which can happen in some games. It doesn't happen in too many games. In between Veil and potentially their own red blasts as well. It can be a bit of a liability to have too many forces, if any at all. They do have Leovold, so I kind of want to keep it in a bunch of plows. Also, I might need to answer Yorion in some games. So might just do this. I think this looks pretty fine. Ooh, I could have, was like a mistake. When I board in the Volcanic Island in these slow matchups, sometimes I consider taking out the basic planes. But the colorless mana, like hitting your land drops is really important in these matchups, so maybe not. Maybe this is fine. I think activating extra mana sources is okay. Alright, so I think with this hand I'm going to be looking to set up a potential turn 3 library with Veil backup. I think I will not want to jam it out on turn 2. It depends on what happens. But library's so backbreaking in the mirror that I think I would rather protect it with this hand if possible. Maybe even potentially waiting until turn 4. Although with this Oko, I think I would rather jam turn 3 into turn 4. Alright, they have their own library. Pretty unfortunate. Although I can just decay that. And hope that they don't have an Oko follow-up. These are the type of games where like it wouldn't be the worst to draw Force Negation. Yeah. Because I'm getting kind of snowballed. They're just scamming threats. Alright, so I need to hit my land drop here, so I'm going to preordain. And 2 lands is pretty good, so definitely keeping both of these. The question is, do I need to Kodal? I'm gonna Kodal, because Kodal's gonna give me a good tempo against this Oko if they decide to Elk. I can trade and then I can play my own Oko potentially. And they have no food in play. Could also play a Leovold with Caracas up. Not the worst play, honestly, but I think I want to wait a turn because I can then have Veil up as well, which I think is good. I'm definitely just going to play Oko here and just make a food. And then I have Oko initiative. I think making a food is better than Elk in the Astrolabe. I kind of need the mana fixing right now. Red Blast. I think this is worth failing. Yorion not too powerful from their side here. Just a 4-5. They might just do it anyways though. No, just decay. Alright, decay a little bit annoying too. Alright, I need to answer this Oko somehow. They are out of cards though. As long as I can answer this Oko, I'll be very far ahead. And they did end up having red as well, so I'm pretty glad I didn't keep in any forces. It's too much of a liability between when they have Blast and Veil. I think I'm just gonna play Leovold with Caracas up. Yeah, because if they -5, that's fine with me. Would I rather keep Caracas up or keep Veil up? It's interesting. I could also pre-reading, try to hit a land, and then Kodo make the same trade play to get initiative with the Leovold. So what happens if I play Leovold? They just plus on it, but I guess that's fine for me, right? Because then I can start attacking it. Really want to hit my land drops though. This is a tough spot. Really tough spot. Because if they swap, I would definitely rather keep up the Caracas. Because if I keep up just green mana and they swap, I have the Veil. Then I don't get a card off my Veil. And I don't even get to kill the Oko, so I think that's worse for me. I think I'm just going to pre-read and try to hit my land drops here. Perfect. Wow, this is great. I'm going to keep both of these. Decay the Oko, and then next turn I have Leovold plus Veil plus Caracas up, so gonna be really far ahead. Just can't see anything too devastating here. They can't cycle their spell bomb here, which is kind of nice though. If they just play a Yorion, that won't be too bad for me. If they like draw Astrolabe and then draw land and play Yorion, that's a little bit more annoying. Their turn's just cracking spell bomb, that's fine. They're not even getting an arrow out of the deal. No naked Yorion, huh? Alright. So if I can underground sea here, just keep up my Astrolabe. Gives me the option to Kodo if I want to as well. They might have another blast if they didn't play Yorion. Looks like not though. Leovold plus Caracas is really backbreaking in these mirror matches. It's kind of a difficult thing to break up. Which means I will probably not play this Kodo because they'll just expose my Leovold for no reason. Unless they somehow just cast the card in their hand. Looks like it's just a Yorion, which is fine. No value Yorion, we'll just trade with the Kodo. Not a big deal at all. I have plenty of life too, so it's not like they're gonna be able to temple me out by just killing my Kodo, killing me with the Yorion. It's gonna be a pretty difficult task. I guess Leovold also stops Yorion, actually. It wasn't relevant in this game, but if they had a bunch of Astrolabes and stuff, Leovold prevents that from being relevant. I think the worst thing for me here would be Red Blast on this Kodo. just because wouldn't get a card off my Leovold. Maybe I would fight over that with the Veil. I'm not positive I would though. I would probably just let it happen. I have Sylvan Library, so the chances I find an answer to Yorion are just so high. But that ended up not being the case. Abrupt Decay. Alright, so I'm gonna draw my card first. And I think I just save it with Caracas. Oh, they were targeting the Sylvan Library. Oh, I'm so bad. Oopsies. I thought for sure they were targeting the Leovold. Well, no. Now I guess I just... Obviously a mistake. But we have to go forward from here. Hopefully this misstep doesn't end up costing us like if their card is. Alright, they just said GG. If their card's like a Ponder or something, I would get punished. Because now they get the cantrip, but I'm pretty sure it was a blank because they didn't do anything. Um, but if they don't end up having anything in hand, I was just gonna replay it and it'd just be like three miss points of damage, which I don't would be unlikely to matter because I'm so ahead on card advantage. But yeah, we got the 4-1. We lost to Tess. Can be a rough matchup. Probably kept some medium hands, honestly. Probably should have mulliganed a little bit more aggressively. But yeah, I've been pretty happy with this deck. It's been pretty good for me historically, and I'm pretty excited to keep working on it. Um, Definitely a lot to explore. Trying Yorion builds, trying different combination of colors and cards. So definitely keep all of you in touch on that. But thanks again for watching. Appreciate all of you who stuck around for all 5 matches. And this has been Edgar for Team Lotus Wax. Have a great day.